Hi guys, this is Lisa and welcome to Chambers 101. Remember, it is 101 because I've only been doing this for a couple of months. So there are people here that know far more than I do. So I'm just going to give you kind of what I've been doing on my chambers so you can kind of have a better idea. I had absolutely no idea I had to even turn on the gas when I got my stove home. But it has been so much fun learning how to use it and so much more fun to cook. So let's get started. So anyway, on mine, I have the little wheel on here where I can I'm warming butter now. So my pilot light is just sitting there. I keep my coffee warm in the morning sitting on there. I keep my water warm that I'm gonna make tea with, which is really, really lovely. To turn the stove on, you see you've got a well, the right front, the left front, the back burner, the broiler, and the oven. And everything is in the down position. And I'm sorry if I'm making it a little too basic, but these are things I needed to know. So, and this is your pantry right here. You can kind of see inside. You can keep your dry goods in it or your pans for your stove in here. But anything that you put in here, cereals and such, they will not get stale because it's so dry in here. So that works out to be a nice pantry feature for me. And then you have your oven. You lift it gently, pull it down. You can see how thick this is and how insulated it is. There's my pilot light burning. This is a 40-pound cast iron plate that's been porcelain down here. It is, of course, very, very heavy, but I think that is the reason that it makes everything cook so evenly, which is really lovely. And cooking with the heat turned off too, which is really, really nice. So gently shut. Then we're going to come up to our top burners. So to turn these on, you press down and then you turn, and it's as easy as that. And then they will come on. So I'll move over here. You can see these. I will do the same thing. There's my back burner. Here is my other front burner. And just look how lovely the little burners run. They are so pretty. And then of course you can adjust them down. And you're just turning them down to wherever you want them. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these off. And we'll come back over to the front. This tends to be the one that I use the most. And see, it can get really low. So you're on a simmer. And then all the way off. So the safety feature is really, really nice. So, okay, so then for your deep well, I'm gonna open this up. This is one of my favorite things. Sorry if you're out of focus here. I'm trying to hold the camera and do this at the same time. So at the moment, I have chicken stock in here. I'm cooking down, I roasted a chicken in my Lisk roaster last night. And so I am cooking all my chicken bones down for broth in here. And I'm going to pull out my thermal well pan with my handy dandy little holder because it is very hot. I could also use this with a pot holder, would be fine. And I am going to need a pot holder to take because these are latched on so that you can pull it on and off. So I'm just gonna take those down. I'll tell you, it's really hard to do this and hold my phone at the same time, and make sure I'm focused. So, and then we have chicken broth. And it's lovely. And I believe this is a 7-quart pot. So that is really nice for chilies and stews and soups and just all kinds of things. And You know, my thermal well is probably one of the things that I use the most, that and the broiler. And I'm gonna move it over to the side so you can see down inside the thermal well. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it on so you can see the flame. See how lovely that is? And so for this morning, whenever I was cooking biscuits, I preheated my thermal well with the lid on for about 5 minutes. And then I put my biscuits in my aluminum pan, has a little baking rack, in my thermal well baker. So you can kind of see the thermal well baker has a nice little bottom there, so it's protecting everything from scorching or anything. And then you lower it down in here with this. So once I have lowered it down in there, I am going to put the lid on it, and then I let it stay. I turn my heat down about 1/4 of the way, and then I let them sit in there for about, it was probably about 5 minutes with the heat on, and then I cut the heat off. Left the lid on it, and then I let them sit in there for about another 4 minutes with on retained heat. And then they were done perfectly. And those biscuits were my mother's recipe, so they were very, very thin and crispy. So that's why it didn't take quite as long. If you were doing a thicker biscuit, it's gonna take a few more minutes. But then you also have your triple pans so that you can do a meat and 2 or 3 different vegetables, you know, which is really, really lovely. And they all sit down in your thermal well. And I'm gonna turn my thermal well off now. So you can sit down in here just really nicely, and they sandwich in. So it's nice to be able to have the option to do several things at one time. And I have found that to be very, very helpful, especially whenever you're cooking for a lot of different people or trying to do several things at one time. Even when I'm trying to reheat things, it's really, really nice. And then I have this little baby pot. It's much smaller than my thermal well, the big kettle. It's a good bit smaller. Didn't mean to get one that much smaller, but I have used it a lot. So in the end, I was glad I had the smaller one. And then I have the doubles. So if you're going to do 2 different things, which is really nice. And then also, whenever you're looking at this, someone posted that you could use the grease cup like this and be able to use it on the lid, the bottom of this lid, so that you can attach it right there on those little hooks. And it works really, really nicely to be able to do custards and the brown breads and, you know, double boiler type of things is really nice. So that does work really well. And the way my pot is, I did not even have to take my handle off, which was very helpful. Because I like having it on there. It's handy for like moving it around. So I'm glad I didn't have to cut that off. So anyway, you can do, when I'm doing my herbs, I will put my herbs down in a basket. Like I have a cast iron heat diffuser, and I will sit it right on the grate. And then I put my basket, it's like a wire mesh, like a steamer basket, and I put my herbs in there. I just did some tarragon, and I put my tarragon down in there and with just the pilot light on, and it dried them perfectly. So that was really, really nice. I use it for, I can't even tell you how many different things. My stock, I'm just letting it sit in there with the pilot light on, which keeps it at the perfect temperature for it to just be warm enough to continue to get all the goodness out of those bones, so that the stock is really, really lovely. If I've taken it out to use my thermal well for something else, I will put it back in there and turn it on for a few minutes just to reheat it. And then I put it right back, you know, turn it right back off, and it's on retained heat. And I don't think anything about leaving it on my stove all night long, because you can come in, you can take the lid off, and it will still, this lid will still be hot. So you know that it's keeping it at a temperature that it's still safe. So anyway, so that's the thermal well. And again, it comes on and off really easily. There is nothing to it. It is just a flip and a turn, and there it is. You can turn it down just like you can all of your burners on your stove top. See how it's coming down, which is really nice. But the thermal well has 1,001 uses, and it seems like every time I turn around, I'm finding another use for it. So then I'm moving on over to the griddle, which I don't use the griddle so much. I do whenever I have company in or my daughter is home and I'm making pancakes or grilled cheeses and that kind of thing. But I do use the end of the top broiler all the time. This is your lever to raise your griddle and raise the burner. And you can see that it is, I mean, like, you can see all of your burners are all right here. And see, your griddle is right there. So you can take this off and you can take it over the sink and clean it and do anything that you do to it, which is really lovely. So then your sizzle platter. I use it for different things. If I am doing toast, or I am warming up leftovers, or as an analog microwave, I'll use it to heat up leftovers. I don't preheat it. I just go ahead and turn my broiler on and heat my food to my desired temp. Now, if I am doing roasted vegetables, I like to do a lot of roasted butternut squash, roasted parsnips, Brussels sprouts, those kinds of things. You can totally, I will preheat it, and I can totally do them on here, and they will broil and crisp up and be just lovely. But I do want to preheat it for that for a little bit. I preheat it if I am doing, let's see, let me think if I'm doing steaks, I will preheat it before I do steaks, and I'll preheat it then for about 15 minutes. And I tend to do, if I'm doing fillets, I have a fireplace outside, and I will smoke them on indirect heat for about 10 minutes. So it has all the flavor, but none of the heat. And then I bring it in here, and I will, after this has been preheated, and I will do a nice thick fillet, sitting them out, and it takes 3 minutes to do a medium rare. So, and they are perfect. So I get all the nice smoky flavor from being smoked on hardwoods, and then I bring it in here, and it has a beautiful sear on it. I mean, it's really gorgeous. A nice crisp crust on it, and it's perfectly juicy on the inside. I have found it to be almost the perfect way to make a steak. So that can come in really handy. I mentioned on our Facebook group that my griddle is non-stick, and I wasn't expecting that, but it really is. I mean, really nothing sticks to it. So it has been really wonderful to be able to do anything on it. I do bacon in it. I don't typically do sausage in it. I typically do sausage on my stovetop in a cast iron skillet, but I do bacon in it a lot. If I'm doing massive amounts of bacon for a family dinner, then I will do that in the oven. So I'm going to light the broiler for you so you can see how easy this is. It really is a piece of cake. I may have to set my phone down here. Pardon me while I turn it over. I'm not sure if that's going to work. Yeah, this is not working out so well for me. So anyway, you know, you have to hold this thing at the same time. So here we go. I'm gonna put it down. I'll turn the gas on. Let me light this. And I'm coming back up. And see, it was easy peasy. It was a little bit louder because I had to sit down here and put my phone down and all that, but normally it's just like really easy light. And then again, whenever you set turning it down, I will put it down gently. I'll lower it. So you can see right there. This small handle that is just to the right of your oven handle, this is the lift that lifts that sizzle platter up and down while the griddle is down. So say this is all the way down, and then you can see this is turned all the way up, which means it's as close to the flame as it can possibly be. So now I'm gonna lower it. I don't think you can see down in there, but it is, you can look down the left side of it and it is lowering your pan, the sizzle platter under there. So it is not as close to your burner. See, you can kind of tell it's a little bit lower there. It doesn't raise and lower it whenever it's in the full upright position. It only lowers it once you've lowered your griddle. So I'm going to turn the broiler off. And then I'm going to show you how to light your oven. And now, people say these take smaller pans. I have not found that to be the case. I have half sheet baking sheets, and they fit perfectly. This is a half sheet baking pan, and it fits perfectly in there. I have put in an 18-inch, the large roaster in here. It fits perfectly. There's no problem with that. So anyway, just wanted you to be aware. It does look different because it's going deep, but it does hold the same size sheet pan as a normal one. To light it, all I do is I turn my switch just like I do all of my eyes. And I set my temperature. And then it comes on. And there it is. You can see it burning down in there. Oh yeah, see, you can see all the flames. And it's completely silent. So whenever you shut this door, you will hear nothing. There's no annoying fans. It's just very quiet. See how quiet that is? I just love that. So anyway, there is your Chambers 101. And I hope that that was helpful.